So it's the time for the package from China, but also we're going to enter the Pandora jungle today. Yeah, so stay tuned, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and let's go. But yeah, for the people who are familiar to my channel, or better said, my Wicked family, we have reviewed so many of these freaking Pandora's boxes because there are so many out there. This is a special one, and not because of the cable, because this isn't just a normal, very long HDMI cable. VGA cable, if you want to go old school, some spare buttons. We're having the power cable, the power plug socket, don't know what I'm saying, brain fart. And we're having here the USB cable, so which is pretty cool. Not really special, but with the DX we can connect to the PC and we'll see it like an Xbox 360 controller if I'm saying it correctly. Power supply, normal one this time, hopefully we don't get these very strange ones. And we're having here the famous Deluxe manual regarding the Pandora Box DX, because yep, this is a Pandora Box DX. But what is so special? This makes it really special. This product has been sent in for purpose for a review. And the reason why I wanted to review this Pandora's box, because of the trackball and the art itself. This thing looks freaking awesome. I have never seen this kind of a Pandora's box. There is only one seller on AliExpress sells one with a trackball, but this thing is just like a Frankenstein. Didn't like it, like the art itself. But this thing looks freaking badass. So let's grab it out of the box and let's take a close look at the casing and the inside. So this version has been specially made for the store who sent this thing in. And I must say they did an amazing job. Look at this, like the character holding the trackball. It's not perfect, at least a little bit, let's put it this way, it needs to get a little bit up. So it has a perfect fit, but the idea behind it is pretty cool. Like the Sub-Zero versus the Scorpion Mortal Kombat edition. The trackball position is at the front of the Pandora's box. Personally I would like to see it a little bit higher. But how is it with the ball itself? How does it play? That is something that I'm curious about. And then what I noticed with this trackball, it got a lot of resistance, but it's also a very tiny ball. But let's talk about the button layout. Here we're also having so freaking many options. So to begin with, we're going to get just the same basic China buttons. And the joystick itself feels slightly different, and I must say it feels way better than all the typical China wiggle sticks. But the weird thing is, like, when we're having a 6-button layout, is it a big problem? Not really. But take into consideration, when you're going to get yourself a Pandora's box, it depends what kind of mainboard you have inside. The DX and the really latest models has support for the 8-button function. So yeah, you can use it like with the Pandora box, but also with when you plug it in like an arcade stick itself. But for all the old games, an 8-button layout is just fine. So a big difference between some of these sticks. Some have like all the extra buttons for turbo mode. Let's say if you want to plug it in like an arcade stick, you can switch between the joysticks. We don't have all this fancy stuff. You're just going to get the player one and the coin button. I must say that I really like the colors they chosen for the buttons. So they did a very amazing job. So on the other side we're going to get the same 6 buttons. The joystick, but this time we're going to get player 2 start, and this one is for the pause and the menu. The case shell itself is also different, and the mean with this, like we're having like the deluxe edition, the super slim version I've reviewed, but this is more like a version between those, because it's still very slim, it got a very nice design, and it is fully made of freaking metal, so the thing is just one heavy beast. So normally when you're opening it up, you need to remove 3 screws over there and you can flip it open. This is not the case with this version. We're going to need 2 screws over there and being removed at the back and 3 at the front. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to do a little peek inside, how does it look. Okay, the only downside with the stick is that you need to be very careful by lifting it up. Oh yeah, can see that is the thing that I mean, like there are cables that you can stretch. But that's what you're going to get inside the Pandora's box. So let's do a quick overview, because this is very interesting. Holy shit, this thing is really clean from the inside. And I mean with clean, normally it's like a little bit messy, you have any RGB strip over here. But this thing, like the paint job looks good. And damn, again, it's really clean. Look at the cables, everything, how nice it has been done. But let's do a quick overview of the buttons. So if you want to replace the joystick or the buttons, it's super easy to do. Basically pop them out and you can just basically replace them with another button if you have some personal preference for a certain brand. So over here we're going to get the trackball. The trackball is a new feature on this Pandora box. Better said, this is the first one that I reviewed ever, so that's quite interesting and very unique. It's just your typical trackball, so no bling bling, LED light inside. I like the bling bling light, so a little bit of a bummer. Okay, here we have the main board itself where all the magic happens, the Pandora box DX. We will rip it out of the casing and just show you what are we going to get inside. Here we like the special PCB that is needed for the trackball itself. And here we're having the very tiny, it's only 3 watt 8 ohm speaker. And in my opinion, it's a little bit of a downside. I really like the big speakers that give a good sound. And I even like some Pandora's box out there, like the EO Gaming has like 2 speakers. And that is way better. Okay, so next up, well, let's remove the 4 screws. That's the only thing that you need to remove. Like if you want to swap or upgrade in the future, this is going to be super easy. Easy peasy, because that's the only thing that you need to do. Okay, so this is the Pandora's box, and the reason I just left the cable in, because I want to know for sure where are we going to plug it in, because I didn't know that this thing was capable of having this. So this is the Pandora box itself. So let's talk about the specifications and what are we going to get. But let's grab myself another main board and let's see if it has like this connector over here. So let's say that is going to be in question if you want to upgrade this main board in the future. Like say there is a new Pandora box. Are we still able to use the trackball in future Pandora's boxes? That is the $1 million question. Okay, so I grabbed one of my other Pandora's boxes from a storage, and there are some minor differences. Yeah, the cooling element have like a bluish color over here, but that is not the biggest one. So here you can see that this is the main board that came out of this Pandora's box. The newer edition has a connector for your trackball. It is possible to add a connector over here, but it isn't assembled. So maybe this is an option back in the day, or if you're making an order for selling these things, that you need to have like an option for adding a trackball and the connector itself. So that means if you want to upgrade in the future, you need to triple check that you have a connector on the freaking mainboard. And with these Pandora's box jungle things, oh boy, upgrading, it is possible, but it's going to be a freaking nightmare. So I just want to quickly point out, so this version has like this big gap in the back, and what I like about it, if you want to upgrade with a different casing, you don't have any limitation when it comes to that, because some of these casing you're only limited to certain, let's say, versions of Pandora's boxes, and it's going to be a little bit troubling when you want to upgrade in the future. Okay guys, so let's take a close look at the back of the system. So what you're going to get is, of course, like always, an on and off switch, a very tiny one. Input for 12 volt, HDMI out, VGA out. Okay, so if you want to use this main board on, let's say, an arcade monitor, take in consideration there are some of these boards. I think this DX is also possible to use on old arcade monitors. We're having here an audio jack, volume control, the setting button. We can do some really cool stuff. There is even an extra option mode in that we'll talk about later. And here we're having the 3 USB ports that we can use for adding a controller, and the thumb drive if you want to add some games. Okay, so the system has been booted up, and let's take a close look at the software itself. So if you're looking at the Pandora box 5 and 6, they have changed a lot. Not the menu itself, looks very similar. There are some minor tweaks here and there, so let's take a close look at that. When you're looking at the Pandora box 5 and 6, they styled the menu this time, and with styling it looks a little bit better. That's just a pure fact. It still got this really annoying tune that you want to go selecting a different game, but the overall it's the same. Like we're having this big gigantic list, we're having the preview over there and some information. The features are still the same from the first Pandora box DX. Pressing start, we have some extra options out, recently played, search, 3D games, action, fight, 3 and 4 player option, because we can basically add some new controllers to the device and play together with 3 or 4 players, shooting, sports and puzzle. Okay, so when you're looking at the recent list, that is something I really use a lot with different systems like Pandora Games 3D or some other models, but sadly it doesn't work for me that great. I noticed now, like when I'm powering up the system, my list gets wiped. A little bit of a bummer, but you can make your favorite list if you want to. Okay, so let's talk about the settings. The little button, if you press it, you're going to get into the settings buttons. Over here we're having the EO tester. The EO tester is very convenient if you want to check out if every button has been configured correctly. So here you can see like it supports 8 buttons, but I don't have them on my Pandora's box or this model. We also have some other interesting settings. We have like the custom button configuration, system settings. Here we can set up if you want to use in credit. It's very convenient if you have an arcade machine where you want to slap in a Pandora's box. Exit game mode. If you not have enough buttons, you can set it to hold player 1's button for 3 seconds. But then overall, there are a lot of things you can check out. But there's also a very interesting way with quality optimization. Let's turn it off. I don't like it. I just want to have like the pixels, old school style. And even if you want to, we're having the scanline option. Timer mode and some other things that you can change out. There is no aspect ratio even with this new model. So overall there are some, let's say, minor settings you can check out. Boot demo movie, I love it to shut it down because I really hate the intro, it's freaking annoying. Let's save it, let's go back to the main menu. The question remains, what does the Pandora's Box DX support? There are a lot of different Pandora's Box out there. It's the freaking jungle, I love to call it. The reason why, because there are so many different versions with different capabilities. So this one has the option to play Neo Geo, MAME, PlayStation 1, and you can even play some 8-bit and 60-bit. Nevertheless, you can even also add some games to it, so it's quite, I would say, a deluxe model, but it's not like the best model out there if it comes to capabilities of running different kind of systems. So that's what I want to point out. But overall, let's take a close look. What are we going to get and how are the games emulating with this new model?
Round one, fight!
This is a feature, nowadays a lot of Pandora Box has it, but there is a but, yeah, because the DX has only one save slot with most of these things. A little bit of a bummer in my opinion, but it works very well. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's save the game now. Alright, let's go back. So as you can see, like it is almost instant, quick load, quick save. But take consideration if you have like a gigantic game like maybe a PlayStation 1 game, it takes a very long time to make a save. And yeah, loading also takes forever sometimes. Okay, so let's play a short game with the joystick. Because I want to point out is that this thing works like a charm. Let's cheat, let's quick load, quick save. So with a lot of these, let's say, cheap Pandora's boxes, we're also going to get this Chinese wicked wiggle sticks, I love to call them. And these things are not very responsive. But this one just works very good. It's getting all my moves out instantly, and that is like what you're going to get with like cheaper and more expensive Pandora's boxes. Okay, so let's talk about the trackball, because this is of course one of the features that makes this thing super special. I played a lot with this trackball before I was making this review, and I can still freaking play this Arkanoid game. But I must say that this trackball is super responsive. I did try to play this game with a stick. It is possible if you're getting used to it. But the trackball gives you a completely different dimension, but it's so super sensitive that you need to get used to it. And so far I know you can't adjust the trackball. Alright, so another game I really like to play with the trackball is this Marble Wicked game. To be honest, I never played it that much in the arcade. But with the trackball, it's just a completely an awesome way to play. Okay, so next up, let's play another game that's really cool to play with a trackball. You can play with a joystick if you want to, of course, but the trackball is just a completely different experience. But again, I noticed that this thing is freaking sensitive. And if you like that, come on. I'm just going to kill myself here. But it's a great experience and the trackball seems to be working just fine. Okay, so Viewpoint is a game you can play fine with a normal joystick. But I can tell like playing it with a trackball is just so much fun. So I'll give you a quick example how responsive it is and how fun it is. And by the way, the Pandora's DX has a support for turbo mode, so if you don't want to push the button every single time. What I'm noticing is that I'm still gonna get killed by the boss, but what I noticed is that with the trackball you can move way faster than with the joystick. You always have like a slight delay, and with the trackball you don't have this. So I love it. So playing this game with the trackball doesn't improve my gameplay, but overall it's just a really great way to play Viewpoint this way. This time I'm just going to use the bomb. In future, this Pandora box, and maybe in the future the new ones, only have hold the B for 4 seconds and it'll switch to the vertical mode games. So we can play the shmups how they need to be played. So let's try that out. But this is just a really awesome extra thing you're going to get with the Pandora's Box DX. So let's play some games with the resolution and the way the monitor needs to be. And let's see how good it is and how much fun. And I think you can also use the trackball to play the game, but that is not really recommended. And this, by the way, so far I know, the only Pandora's box that has the option to play the games like this. And I can say that it's a completely different experience. I'm so used to playing the game by 4x3 or widescreen resolution. Drop the bomb and the power up. So the reason I wanted to review here this product on the channel is very simple. This thing brings some new elements to the table. Something you don't see very often. To begin with, the trackball. The trackball is super sensitive, but I do like it. It's just a fun way to play, especially when playing some shmups or you just want to play an Arkanoid. It's so cool. What I also like about this is the button quality. But it is more like a personal thing when it comes to what kind of buttons I like, but also what the kind of buttons they are going to give you with a stick like this, because there are so many of these devices. Some give you Sanwa parts, some give you like these high quality parts. And a joystick and the buttons, I like them. And even with these minor changes, it's still a Pandora's Box DX. In my opinion, it's a great board in some ways, but it is not perfect and it's flawed in many ways. So therefore, I just want to give you like a heads up. If you want to see more running on this board, would say consider subscribing, hit the bell, become on the Wicked family, and let me know in the comments what do you want to see. And I will see you in the next video.
I almost want to keep the plastic on, but I can't this time. Ooh, still some plastic over here. That always happens with me. Arr.